Hi everybody, I know it's been a long time since I've come on here, but as I said previously, I was going on vacation and we've been to friends and family's houses and things like that, and so I did not have the equipment I thought I was going to have to be able to come to you earlier. So I have quite a bit to show you this time, but I'll go ahead and start by saying again hello. I am Lady Amber Sky on Ravelry and Instagram. I am on Twitter, but I'm not active there, so you will find me there, but then find nothing. So, best place is Ravelry and Instagram, and then yeah. So I'll just go ahead and jump right on in. I am currently coming to you from Korea, so this is where I am for the next couple of weeks, which is, as I said earlier, why I had about a zillion projects that I put onto Needles, so that I would have projects already started and ready to finish while I was on vacation. So yeah, I'm saying a lot, and I apologize for that right now. I'm a little out of sorts. It is pretty early in the morning here. I am, want to say like 19 or 20 hours ahead of West Coast time, something like that. It's quite a difference. It took me like 3 days to flip my time schedule over. But I will go ahead and start with my works in progress. I am currently have 2 things I'm actively working on. I also finished 2 other things yesterday and the day before. And I will talk about those later. I have more than this on the needles, but I haven't done any work on them, so I'm not going to show them to you again because I showed them to you last time. So currently I'm working on the sockhead hat. Sorry, the colors are awful in here right now. This is yarn that I dyed. When I get back, I will be opening my dye shop. But this is probably not a colorway that's necessarily going to be available right away. This was actually a failed attempt. Gotta love failed attempts that are still actually pretty. Really sorry about that, guys. The lighting is just terrible in here. Anyway, this was supposed to be a link colorway, but as you can see, the brown is kind of orangey. The green worked out, but the brown is kind of orangey, so it didn't quite work for what I wanted. But it kind of looks kind of rangery to me, like Gauntlet Legends Green Ranger. So yeah, but that's coming along. I only have a couple more inches before I start my decrease. So maybe if I turn, like, there we go. I'll scooch over just a little bit. That's a little better. A little bit better. Yeah, so that's my yarn and the sockhead hat. I've been knitting on that a lot anytime we take the train, because I'm actually in Daegu, and so I think that's how you pronounce it, Daegu. And so when we go into Seoul, we take the train, and it is a several-hour train ride. So I get several hours of peace and quiet to knit, which is great. And then I don't think I showed this to you last time, because I don't think I had the yarn yet. But this is by Tin Can Knits. This is the Flax Light Sweater. I'm knitting this for my mom. I was actually going to knit one for me, but it was not the color I expected when I got it. That's the problem with buying yarn on the internet. Here we go. I've separated the sleeves and I have some of the body. Problem with buying on the internet is the color isn't always what you expected, and it's just more of a lilac than a purple that I thought it was. I mean, it's purple, but it's more of a like lilac purpley color with some light blue in it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Like, that's some light blue. Goes into a little bit of a deeper purple, and then this is the majority of the body is more of a lilac color. So that's not what I wanted for me personally. So I decided my mom is watching my kids for 3 weeks so that I could come here to visit my husband. So I think she deserves a sweater. So that's what we're doing. She lives in Oregon, so it gets cold there, and so I figured a sweater would be good for her. This particular sweater I have extra yarn for. I'm actually going to lengthen it, so it's going to be much longer in the body because she wears leggings. Charlie's Project leggings, LuLaRoe, that kind of thing. So I wanted it to be able to cover her rear because that's the shirt that she likes when she wears leggings. So that is my plan for that. I know she'll wear boots and then her leggings, and then she'll wear this, which will cover her bottom and make her feel more comfortable. So this is going to be considerably longer than the pattern calls for. So I have like 20 inches in the body to knit or something like that. So it'll be like 20 inches long, and she's only 5'2" or something. But I measured to where she would like it to hit. So I'm pretty sure it's about 20 inches long from collar to bottom, which is much, much longer than the pattern calls for. But I think she'll be happier with it. And of course, if you're happier with the finished garment, you're going to wear it more. So that's the plan for that. But that's all I'm working on currently. Because like I said, I have 2 finished projects done that I just finished over the last couple of days. And then I have quite a bit of an acquisition to show you. So let's go with project 1. These are tube socks for kids. I'm sorry guys, I don't remember the pattern maker's name because I am currently running with very little internet. The internet is actually run off of my husband's phone, which he has at work, so I can't even look it up for you right now. So this is Felici Rainbow by Knit Picks. I don't think they have this colorway anymore, but when they had a sale on it right before they took it away for the season for the sock yarn, I bought several balls of this and a couple of balls of Time Traveler, which is another one I don't think they have anymore except for maybe in worsted weight. But yeah, so these are the tube socks for kids. I did do these 2 at a time with Magic Loop because my daughter is 4, almost 5, so 9-inch circulars would not work on these because she's only got like a 6-inch foot or 5-inch foot, something like that. So I did 2 at a time Magic Loop. I did do it from the same ball of yarn. This is all I have left of that 50-gram skein, which is perfect because it's just enough to put into my granny stripe blanket when I get back home, which I don't have with me, so you're not going to get to see anything on that. I have not made any progress because it stayed at home. But I think it made it kind of whimsical because you go from one side of the skein, the rainbows go one way, and then of course from the other side of the skein, the rainbows go the other. So they match, but they're different, which she will love. So yeah, those are my tube socks for kids. And then the other thing I had finished, now this is an interesting story. So these are, oops, sorry about that, my alarm. These are toe-up socks. There's a Craftsy class called My First Toe-Up Socks. It is an afterthought heel. So this is my first fingering weight sock I ever finished right here. I screwed up on the toes. So my tip to you, if you are wanting to knit socks, especially for the first time, is knit both toes at the same, like not at the same time, but knit one toe and then knit the other, and then put one of them on waste yarn, because I totally screwed up and the toes look completely different. This is the way it's supposed to look right here. This is the way this toe came out, which is funny because my husband has really long toes, so he actually prefers this toe, and I have no idea what I did. I assume that I put too many knit rows because you do an increase row, you do an increase row and then you do an all knit row and then an increase row and then an all knit row. So I assume that I put too many knit rows in that made this weird long shaped toe. This is what it's supposed to look like. And this one fits too. It's just, oh well. He doesn't care. So I guess I don't care, and I'm not going to rip it out because, yeah, this is what I have left. This is this is the hand-painted stroll in Renaissance. Now, the thing about these socks that I really like is Renaissance. When we got married, because these socks are for my husband, when we got married, we had a Renaissance wedding, and our colors were jewel tones: purple, red, green, blue, which is, there we go, the colors of these socks. And our wedding anniversary is next weekend. It's Saturday. So I thought it would be cool to finish these socks and give them to him. for our anniversary. Of course, I gave them to him really early because as I finished them, I handed them over to make sure they fit, and I couldn't wait. But he even noticed that these were our wedding colors, so that was really cool. And I finished one sock, and I said, here, try this on, let me see if it fits. And he put it on, and he wore it and wouldn't take it off all the way up until I finished the second sock. And then he wore that one, and then he didn't take them off for over 24 hours. So he loved them, which makes me happy. He asked me how hard it is to knit socks because he loves them and he wants more of them. And I said, well, of course I'll make you some more socks. In fact, let's go to the yarn store when we get home and pick out some yarn that you like. And then he looked at me and said, how hard would it be for me to learn to knit socks? So my husband's learning to knit, and it makes me excited, and it makes me super happy that we might actually have something to share that I love, which is cool because it's always been sharing video games, which I like video games, don't get me wrong. I am a little bit of a gamer. I played Zelda when it first came out, Breath of the Wild, for like a week straight and didn't even touch my knitting. So I am a bit of a gamer. I used to play Warcraft. We used to play Warcraft together, and then we had kids. So I don't have nearly as much time to play as I used to, and I can knit with the kids around. But playing is not always easy to do with the kids around, especially when you get into a storyline and that kind of thing and you don't want to stop. Or Lord forbid, you are playing an online game, and if you stop playing, you will die. So that's difficult when your kids are still of the age of, Mommy, I need water, Mommy, I need you to help me wipe my butt, you know, that kind of thing. So I don't play as nearly as much as I used to, and of course, I have been alone this year because my husband has been in Korea. So I have had like 0 game time. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to have something to share with him that's not just video games. And maybe he'll be excited to go to yarn stores with me, which would be really cool. So yeah, that's what these socks created a monster, which I'm pretty excited about. And yeah, obviously I need sock blockers, sorry guys. And yes, my husband has pretty big feet. These are a little big on him though. Next time I think I would knit on smaller needles. I actually knit these on size 4 because I did a swatch and that's what it looked like I needed. But I think I would do these same socks in a size 3 or a size 2 even, and they would fit him better because they're a little loose on his foot. They're great for around the house, which he's in the army, so he can't really wear them out anyway, unless he is off the clock. Yeah, maybe next time I'll have sock blockers and make it easier for you to see his huge feet. I am going to be casting on a set of socks for myself. But I will show you those when we get to acquisitions because I got those recently. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, for the sweater I'm knitting for my mother, this is Knit Picks Chroma Twist Fingering in Avalon. I'm looking at my show notes and realized I didn't tell you that. Sorry, whoops. So, yeah, those are my finished objects and my works in progress. And I am going to go ahead and show you my acquisitions next because I have done a yarn crawl with my friend and I picked up some yarn. I picked up quite a bit of yarn, and then Knit Picks had a sale and I picked up some more yarn, and I'm glad I'm going to have an extra suitcase going home because my suitcases were full getting here, and I've bought a lot of yarn. So yeah, I will go ahead and show. Oh, I have one more work in progress. I forgot about this because I haven't worked on this in a couple of days, but this is oh, I didn't bring over my spindle. This is called Exploding TARDIS, and it is roving. And I've been spinning it up. And I brought over the roving, and I didn't bring over my spindle. So this is by AJ's Handmade Creations. There's her card. Oh, that's backwards on the screen. Sorry, guys. This is BFL top and Exploding TARDIS. About 8 ounces. 8 ounces. Yeah, so quite a bit. And I'm working on that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start with my acquisition. Sorry, I've got all of the stuff sitting here on a chair. Like I said, I'm not in my normal setup, so I'm like at a little bitty table because this is a little bitty one-room room. So I have all my stuff sitting on a chair over here, and yeah, so I have to kind of off of screen to grab them. But I fell in love recently with some fabric, and Amber on the Yarn Hoarder podcast made a skirt out of this fabric, and I fell in love with it, so I had to go find it and get a project bag out of it. And the only company I could find that had it was Sugar Tots, which I'm not sad about, but they do come from Canada, so it takes a little while. But look at this fabric. I love it. It's yarn bombed trees and yarn in a basket on a bike, and the bike's yarn bombed, and it says purl. And then on the other side, it says knit, and I adore it. And then the bottom half is just like a denim color. It's not denim, but it kind of looks like denim. And then I bought this adorable progress keeper. It's a little sushi. And this is all from Sugar Tots on Etsy. So, yeah. And then inside, I told you I went on a little yarn hop with my friend. We went to a couple of yarn shops in the Hillsboro, Beaverton, Aloha, Oregon area. And every stop I made, I bought a couple of unicorn tails. So I have six unicorn tails. This is more of my acquisitions. Acquisitions might be a little long today. Here we go. I can hold all these. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Not the greatest picture here of these colors. I actually have a picture of all of the colors all lined up, the order I'm going to knit them in, on Instagram. So it's a much better quality picture. But of course you can't hear my voice. So that's that, and it's actually going to be the toolbox shawl, or not shawl, the toolbox cowl, excuse me, which is specifically designed to use with unicorn tails. The shop that I went to, it's called For Yarn's Sake in Beaverton, which is an amazing store, and I posted a little video on Instagram as well of just kind of going through the store and glancing over everything. The store is huge for what I'm used to, because like another shop we went to, Black Sheep in Orinco Station, is literally like in a little apartment. It's not even a full apartment. It's like 2 rooms and a bathroom, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, they're great people there and there's great stuff there, but it's much smaller and more the size of a shop I'm used to. I haven't been to any of these huge mega shops before, so now this wasn't a huge mega shop, but it was pretty big. I mean, compared to what I was used to. So I absolutely adored that shop. And I think it was the owner of the shop designed this, and specifically designed it to use with 6 unicorn tails, which is what I have. And so it's called the Toolbox Cowl, and that is what I'm going to be knitting with that. She also has the Toolbox mitts, so you can make mitts instead. That again uses 6 unicorn tails, which I may go back and buy some more unicorn tails and make those too. But yeah, that's that. And then on that same trip, I got, throwing things on the floor. I got these 3 mini skeins. They are 100 grams each. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. I think I may get a purple to go in between it and make a shawl with it, because it's 300 yards, and then if I had like a secondary color to go in between them. And then I got, and I honestly, guys, don't know who this was from. I took a picture of it. But yeah, I don't have it on my phone anymore. It's actually on the computer. So I took a picture of it for the information. I know that it's fingering weight, and I think it's merino, but I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look that up. But they're mini skeins, so I could get a bunch of different colors to kind of play with that. Sorry guys, there is this bug. There are lots of bugs here. That drives me a little crazy. There are a lot of bugs here. Okay, and then I went looking for this. This is DK Weights. It's called Dragon by Black Trillium Fibers. Here we go. It's got this like deep maroon color and red, and this is a really horrible light for this. Trying to see if I can get you a better picture. Oh, there's a better color. There we go. Way back here. But I have a specific project in mind for this. I can't cast this on yet because the project I have in mind actually uses beads, which I have at home. I didn't expect to be casting this one on, but I couldn't help when I found perfect yarn for it. So it is the, oh, it's not called steampunk. Wow, it's totally out of my head. I'm sorry. Just, woo! That train totally derailed. I will, I'm sure I will show you next podcast. Because as soon as I get home, this is going on my needles. But it's kind of like a steampunk shawl. It's steaming something, and so I wanted to do some kinds of browns or reds, something kind of steampunky, and these are reds. I actually pulled every single skein of dragon that they had out because some of them were more red, some of them were more orange. Orange doesn't look good on me, so I wanted to make sure it was as red as possible, but I couldn't pass up dragon. I mean, steampunk dragon. Can't get better than that. But this is in the Sublime base, I think is what they call this. It is superwash. And yeah. So Black Trillium Fibers, Sublime base in the dragon colorway. Fell in love with that. Now this one is really cool. This is by Huckleberry Knits. Yeah, Huckleberry Knits. It's a gradient. And she actually cakes the gradients both directions. It goes from this purple to a pinky color to a tan to a dark brown to a light green to a dark green. And then they also had there, which I didn't pick up, but I kind of wish I had, one caked up the opposite direction. So you can like knit to here and then go back to the center pole on the other one, which starts at this color, and you know, so you have a full gradient going both directions, which is really cool. But this is gradient self-striping, 75 merino, 25 nylon, 463 yards. It's called Seek No Further. Which is funny because I found this yarn and I was like, okay, seek no further, I get the joke, I'm done. Which is hilarious because I had obsessed over a couple of skeins of yarn. I didn't end up getting them because I had no plans for them, and I had already, this was the last shop we went to, so I had already spent quite a bit of money. And so that's when I decided I was going to do dragon and for a specific project, and then I left and I obsessed over this next skein of yarn that I got. I didn't get it during this particular trip. I went back and got it because I couldn't stop thinking about it because I love the colors so much, and these are going to be a pair of socks for myself. And I think that's this. I threw it on the floor 1 second. Sorry, guys. Other direction. Okay, that's crazy. I'm sorry. You totally wanted to watch me walk around, right? Okay, so this is by Knitted Wit. Pixie Plied. Love is love. Ooh, not even showing you. Look at those colors. Aren't they amazing? It's a bright, okay, it's washing out the colors, but it is a bright rainbow, bright pink, bright orange, bright yellow, green, blue. It's the rainbow of colors. Again, sorry, that bug is driving me crazy. And it's sparkly. And one of my other acquisitions was from Knit Picks, and I'm going to show you now because it matches with my yarn. I'm going to do heels, toes, and cuffs in this bright blue. Oh, they don't put the name of it. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so this is Stroll Glimmer Fiji. So it's a bright blue color. To do heels, toes, and cuffs for this. You can actually see that there's that color and a little bit in here. A little bit in here. I have a dark blue, I think it's Celestial, in the Knit Pick Stroll Glimmer, but it's such a bright socks, I kind of wanted the bright blue and not the dark blue, because then you would see the dark and it would bring out the dark. And so we're going to go with fun summery rainbows. So those are going to be socks for me, which I will cast on probably after I finish the sock head hat. Because I want to get one more project bag empty before I cast more on. So yeah, and so this and those unicorn tails was my haul from the yarn crawl, if you include the skein that I went back for because I couldn't stop obsessing about it. Okay, and then so I order a lot of my needles on Amazon because I can get them in 2 days, and I'm staying with my mom, so I don't have a car, and so we are all sharing a car, and so I generally just don't go anywhere unless I can walk. But there's a shop called Nitro Knitters in Beaverton, and they have a decent selection of the needles that I use, so Xiaogu, and I think they have Haya Haya, but they have, it's not all Addies, which are way more expensive, and I needed a size 2 for something, I can't remember what it was for now, but I had tried to order it on Amazon and totally messed up and ordered a size 5, and I went back to my order and nope, I did order a size 5, I screwed up, so I sucked it up, added it to my needle collection, and then went local and bought a pair of needles. But while I was there, they had this bag, which a year ago, I generally visit my mom every Christmas, and so last Christmas or the Christmas before, I saw this bag at Nitro Knitters, and I absolutely loved it. But I was like, skein of yarn, new knitting bag. Skein of yarn, new knitting bag. And they had a great sale on yarn at the time. They had a bunch of clearance stuff they were getting rid of, so I bought yarn. And I left the bag. Well, the universe wants me to have this bag because it was 40% off. And it's knitting is my superpower. Let me open this up. Knitting is my superpower. So it's a drawstring bag. I have no idea who made it. It obviously doesn't have its price tag on it anymore, so I really don't know who made it. There's no, like every other bag I have has a little tag on it that says who the maker is, and this one doesn't. So I have another sockhead hat, like this one. Started, but I literally have like nothing done on it, but it's doing it in Time Traveler. This is what I bought the needles for. These are the needles. Pretty sure these are the needles. So yeah, I've got, I have a friend watching my 2 cats at home for like 2 months. So yes, I paid her, but I'm also knitting her a hat. So this is the sockhead hat. I'm afraid it's going to be too small, and it may end up being for my daughter, and I may have to knit her something else, but yeah, so this is the sockhead hat and Time Traveler. The pattern calls for 4 inches of ribbing. I hate doing ribbing. I'm a thrower. I throw my yarn when I knit. I throw it over. So having to go back and forth is a little bit of a pain for me, and I am much better at just straight knitting than I am purling, and so having to reset up every time kind of bothers me. But yeah, so like when I knit, I throw, and then I have to, I don't know, I think maybe I just need more practice. I just need to spend more time knitting. Darn, I need to spend more time knitting. Yeah, so that is the start of that, which I guess is technically a work in progress, but I've not been working on it much. I actually took this for knitting on the plane for my 10-hour, 11-hour plane trip here, and I ended up watching movies the whole time because I have a little bit of anxiety when it comes to flying. So yes, I am afraid of flying, and I flew for 11 hours over water. Yay me! Yeah. So the other acquisitions I have are all knit picks. Oops, here we go. They're knit picks. My daughter has requested a new sweater, shirt thing. When she was 1-ish, I knit her the Primrose sweater, dress. I made it really long, so it was a dress when I made it for her, but I made the size 2-3, I think. And now my daughter's really skinny. She takes after daddy, and she is tall and skinny. And so it still fits her. 2 years later, 3 years later, it still fits her. I have pictures, and it's hilarious because I have pictures of when she first got it, and it goes past her knees because I made it a dress, and now it's more like a tunic. So it's getting shorter, but because I made it so long, it still fits her. which is cool, but we're getting really close to the point that it's not going to fit her anymore. And so she has requested another one. She saw me knitting Grandma, my mom, the sweater and asked for another one. And so we sat down when Knit Picks had their sale, and I had her pick out colors. And this is what she picked. This is again Stroll Fingering. They hand painted in wine tasting tonal. It's purples and reds, maroonish colors. Maybe if I take it back here, that's a little better. But I figured Fingering was best, even though I don't have a pattern picked out for her, because I got 4 skeins of it, even though I'm probably not going to need that much, because it's like 400 and something yards a skein. 462 yards. That stupid bug again. So I got 4 skeins of this because I figured I can hold 2 of them together and knit a worsted weight sweater for her if that's what I find a pattern that I like. And then I have enough for 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn by having 4 of them. And if I don't, well, this is perfect sock yarn, so I'll just make myself an extra pair of socks. Or make her a pair of socks, because she only needs less than 50 grams. Because her tube socks came from 1 50-gram skein of yarn. So I think that, yeah, I have plans for extras if there's extras. I'm sure I will have extra of the Avalon, because like I said, I bought enough of this for me, and I am about 2 sizes bigger than my mom. So I bought enough of this for me for a long sweater, so I'm sure I'm going to have extra of that. And then I bought some Glimmer, because apparently, I'm so sad, they say on the website that Glimmer's going goodbye, and I don't like that, because I really like Stroll Glimmer. So I got 2 Potion, which is green. I got Kespriel, which is gray. I got Foxglove, which is a purple. And I got Celestial, which is a blue, but it's way over there. It's way over there. So, yeah, I think I need to knit my son a pair of the tube socks, because I would like to be able to present them to my daughter when I get back from Korea after being gone for 3 weeks. So, I need a pair for him. So I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to knit him the blue sparkly, or if he will be jealous because she has stripes and he doesn't. I have 1 more skein of Time Traveler with me. I have a couple more Time Traveler at home, but I have 1 more skein of Time Traveler with me, so I may knit him tube socks from that, but then that means I won't be able to finish the Time Traveler sockhead hat, because the sockhead hat uses a 100-gram skein, and Felici only comes in 50 grams, so that means I'd need to buy 2 of them, or I'd need to use 2 of them. So I'd only get about halfway before I had to stop, put it away, and wait till I get home. So I haven't decided yet. I take that back. I think I've decided to knit him. I think I've decided to knit him the Time Traveler because he likes stripy socks. I bought just plain like Target stripy socks for my daughter, and he wears her striped socks because he wants striped socks. So, okay, well, so thank you guys. You helped me make my decision. I'm making him Time Traveler socks. He has no idea who the doctor is, but it's the only skein of self-striping sock yarn I have. It's, yeah, you've pretty much seen all of the yarn that I have with me, because, like I said, I cast it on a bunch. I have bought some, and I only grabbed like 1 or 2 skeins extra because I can't be without my knitting, especially since my husband's working while I'm here, so I'm here by myself with no internet all day long, so I gotta do something. So yeah, yeah, and I think that's it, guys. That's it for acquisitions, I think. I may have a skein or 2 hiding somewhere, since it has been a while since I came to you, and I've kind of been collecting, and yeah. Oh, I didn't show you, this podcast is all over the place, I'm sorry guys. I didn't show you, I got this just before I left. I specifically got this to hold the sweater. It is reversible, which is super cool, but it just holds on your arm, and then you put your yarn in here, and then you can knit. And this is by where'd it go? Whimsy Stitches on Etsy. So whimsystitches.etsy.com. But it's a really nice bag, and it's pretty big. It holds, it will hold at least one extra skein of yarn and the sweater. So it's been really helpful, especially when you're flying and wandering around and going from plane to plane and that kind of thing. You can just stuff it in there, and then it's on your arm, and you have everything there. And then when you're waiting in line, it's really easy to pull out and no big deal. So that is what I have been carrying around with me. So yeah, now the reason why I wanted to get this to you and out as soon as possible is to show you all my acquisitions. Obviously, I wanted to get through all my acquisitions because I am going to like a 6 or 7 story fabric market in Seoul on the weekend. It is called Dongdaemon, Dongdaemon. Yes, I'm looking at it because I can't spell in Korean. Fabric market. So Dongdaemon Fabric Market. It has like a floor of yarn and a floor of ribbon and notions and like 2 floors of fabric and beads and all kinds of things. It is apparently set up for like resale. So like if you were to sew and then sell what you sew, you go to the fabric market and you buy like a bolt. Not all stalls will sell you single skeins or single cuts. Some have minimums, but I plan on getting a bunch of won, which is the money here, and going to town. I am really hoping to find some yarn there that I like. I kind of want it to be my souvenir yarn, so I need to find something in enough of a quantity to actually make something with it. I guess there are some shops that have wool, but I guess it's not common, and so I really don't know what to expect because I've only seen one YouTube video about it, and that one YouTube video only shows me one stall. Hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit of video for you, and I probably won't be able to put it together until I get back home because I don't have any video editing anything with me right now. So sorry for all the weird things that go on in this video today because I don't have any way to edit it. This is all uncut, unedited, pure, yes. Pure crazy that is me. And, which is pretty much my life. It's just a little bit crazy. I am not normal. And nor will I ever be. It's just not worth trying to be normal. But yeah, Dongdaemon Fabric Market, it is floors and floors and floors and floors and floors worth of craft stuff. Finding yarn shops here is not an easy task. I don't know why knitting's not a thing here. Their winters get cold, so I've noticed back in the States, the colder states tend to have more people that knit. But there's lots of waiting in cabs and not actually driving yourself, and lots of trains and subways and downtime that you have nothing else to do, and it gets cold during the winter. So I'm not sure why it's not a thing here, but I guess there's one yarn shop in Seoul. I haven't found one anywhere else, and I haven't been there. I'm actually not in Seoul, so it's a trip to go to Seoul, and then this fabric market, so I'm gonna try that. My plan is to get some yarn, like I said, for a souvenir or something for myself, and then maybe something for my friends who knit, because they probably will never come here, and that would be cool. And then I would like to find some fabric that is like kawaii or something cute, something that says Korean to me. I know that probably sounds pretty stereotypical, but I kind of want something that's, more what you would think of when you think of Korea fabric-wise, so that I can make myself a project bag out of it. And I probably will get more than one fabric. We will see. There's apparently like bargain bins in some of the shops that are pre-cut fabric, and all I need is like a half a yard for a project bag. A yard, half a yard, something like that. So they do have pre-cut sections, and that's probably what I'll go for, because it's just easier than trying to figure out how to speak Korean. This is going to be an interesting trip. It's really going to be an adventure is what my husband calls it. It's going to be an adventure. Both getting there because we have to take a taxi, and while we're there, because I don't speak any Korean, and a lot of Koreans do understand some English. I feel really stupid using English in Korea because I kind of feel like I'm in their country. I should be speaking their language, but this is honestly a trip that it was like, oh, it's gonna happen, and you're gonna go next month. We did not expect me to be able to visit, and when the wonderful military told my husband he had to stay longer than his normal year, we were able to plan this so that I could visit him, which is cool because by the time he gets home, he'll have been gone for 13 months. So yay, it's almost over. But this has been an experience. I have had some really, really good food. I'm on to rambling at the end. I'm on to what's been up, and I will get into geeky chatter in a minute. But I am moving on to basically general chatter. But yeah, I've had some really good food here. There's something called bulgogi, which is amazing. There was a place in the Seoul train station that had, the only part that was written in English said Korean restaurant, or traditional Korean restaurants, when it said traditional Korean restaurant. And it had pictures up front, and I think they're on my Facebook or on my Instagram. The front, there's a front window that is, got him. Sorry, like I said, lots of bugs. It drives me crazy. They're little bitty gnats, and they get in my face. Anyway, so there was a window in the front that had fake versions of the food that they make, so that you could tell what it is. Because it's kind of a fast food Korean restaurant. It wasn't fast food like you would think in America. It wasn't fast food like McDonald's. But it was a quick restaurant. So like you shared a table with somebody else. If you only had 2 in your party, you sat with another party of 2, and you shared a table. And like you start standing up, and they're cleaning up after you and sitting the next people down. So it was a very quick turnover, which is cool. I mean, if you're catching a train, you need to be able to get in and out fast, and so that's exactly what they're set up for. They're set up for you to grab a quick bite before you catch your train. And it was amazing. I probably had way more food than I should have. I was stuffed after that. But it was beef in some kind of a marinade sauce, peppers, I think, onions. It was really, really good, and of course with rice. And I even used chopsticks. I'm very proud of myself. When I very first got here, we went to a place called Beef and Leaf. And it's basically one of those places with a grill in the middle of the table, and you grill your own food. And I'm pretty sure I had bulgogi then too, but it was one of those cook your own. I have found that bulgogi is apparently one of my favorites here. I have a little bit of a problem with heartburn, and so if I have something that's too spicy, I'll pay for it for hours and possibly all night. And so I have been trying to stay away from anything that's red, because that usually means that it's spicy. And so I've been eating a lot of bulgogi because that doesn't have any red in it. Anyway, but so when I first got here, funny story, when I first got here, I ate there, and it was like the second day I was here. And my husband and his friends went to the Beef and Leaf, and so I went with them. And I'm sure there's a better name for it, but that's what the Americans call it. It's Beef and Leaf. You cook it, and then you can ask for a side of rice, and you get a leaf of lettuce, and you put it all on the leaf, and you roll it up kind of like a mini burrito, but in a leaf. So that's why we call it Beef and Leaf. And I was struggling so bad with the chopsticks. The waiter comes over and hands me a fork, and I was like, okay, I admit defeat. I will use a fork. I probably look like just this stupid American tourist, but yeah, I struggled pretty bad. And then, so I was really proud of myself that I ate probably 3/4 of my meal including rice, with chopsticks this time, until my hands started cramping, like right here in my palm, where like you hold your, yeah. It was definitely an experience, and I had some school kid sitting at the table with us, kitty corner from us, like staring at me like, It was comical, but it's an adventure, and that's what oh well. I'm trying. I'm trying. I really am. But it's been fun. The food here is amazing. My husband's been having some of the spicier stuff, so sometimes I'll have a taste of his. Because a bite shouldn't kill me, but if I ate the whole thing, then I probably would be paying for it all night. And I only have a handful of heartburn medication with me, so I'm here for another week and a half, something like that, 8 days, 9 days, something like that. And so I do not wish to run out of heartburn medication should I have an episode that wakes me up spitting and coughing and it can get really bad. So I'm just trying to stay away from that. But I am still trying to eat local fare. I am still trying. I have not once gone to McDonald's. Oh, I take that back. The first morning we went to McDonald's because it was the only thing open, and I was starving at like 4 o'clock in the morning as I was trying to flip my schedule over. And so it was the only thing open, and so we went to McDonald's for breakfast. But that doesn't count because there was no other options. So it's been a great time. I've gotten to reconnect with my husband, who obviously I haven't seen in a year, which has been nice. Before, the kids tackle him and never let him go again because they haven't seen him in a year or two. So that's been nice. And then, so that's all I'll say about my trip. I will hopefully have video and kind of a mini podcast for you after I go to the fabric market. But that is also my anniversary weekend, so you probably won't hear from me for at least a couple weeks. In fact, I probably won't be posting again until I get back into the States, which isn't until like July 21st or something like that. So you probably won't be hearing from me until after that. And then I'll have internet, like real internet connection again at my mom's house. And I still won't have any editing software, I don't think, unless anybody knows any Kendall software that does video editing, because that would be amazing, because that's what I have. It's my Kendall. My Kendall is everything. It has my Facebook, everything. And that's what I'm using right now. So that was my birthday present from my husband. But it came late, obviously, because my birthday was in May, and this is the new Kindle, which didn't come out until June. But I was okay with waiting, because I probably wouldn't get to play with it until I got to my mom's house anyway. So, all right. So I'm just going to go into some geeky chatter. And if you are not geeky and you're not into things like Dungeons and Dragons and video games and things like that, then this probably isn't the section for you, which is fine, because I'm all done with my knitting stuff. I mean, if you were just here for the knitting and sewing, which I didn't have any of today, then you are free to go. Thank you for listening. But a little bit of geeky chatter. I do want to give a couple of podcast recommendations, and these are these first couple of podcasts are knitting podcasts. So my absolute favorite is the Yarn Hoarder, Amber, on the Yarn Hoarder. She actually is the one that got me into listening to podcasts, and then possibly doing my own podcast, which I feel like I'm kind of sucking at. But hey, we'll give everything a try once, right? I'm enjoying it, so hopefully somebody else will enjoy it. And maybe I'll get better equipment if you guys like this, because I'm having fun. And then, so Yarn Hoarder, she comes on about every 2 weeks, which is my plan too, but obviously with this travel thing happening, not working out so well. But I'm going to try, and hopefully when school starts again at the end of August, I will be more consistent, because I will have more every day. At this time, I'm going to have some free time and some quiet time to be able to do this. But right now it's summer and we're traveling and it's crazy. My other recommendation for you today is the Grocery Girls on Instagram. Well, they're on Instagram too, but their podcast, The Grocery Girls. I love them. They're hilarious. They're our Canadian sister team, and they are hilarious. And so on top of that, I will recommend their Craftsy channel. They have they're on their second season of, it's called Off My Needles, but it's not under Grocery Girls, it's under Craftsy. So it's really informative, whereas their podcast is more about what they've been knitting and that kind of thing. And then one of the sisters makes bags. And you will spend the whole time laughing because they're hysterical. Their Craftsy show is more like, here's a pattern in multiple different colors, and here's how to do this tricky part in a pattern. And they even this last episode was really cool because, like I said, I dye my own yarn, and I'll be opening up a shop soon. But they had a little mini DIY dyeing your own yarn, which was cool because speckles is something I kind of suck at, and so I'm working on it, but I've not been doing very good. And so there were some tips and tricks that I want to try when I get back home that they did, and it was really cool. So yeah, so Craftsy is off our needles, and Grocery Girls, which Off My Needles is Grocery Girls, and then Yarn Hoarder. So those are my podcast recommendations for knitting podcasts. I do have a geeky podcast recommendation. If you can see my shirt, Vox Machina, which, if you know who they are, brownie points for you. I am a Critical Role fan, and Critical Role is the podcast that I would suggest. They are voice actors that play Dungeons and Dragons, and having kids, I don't get to play Dungeons and Dragons anymore because they are still little. They're still, 2 and 4, well, 3 and 5 almost. And so my kids are not quite of the age where I can be like, go in your room and play, and I don't have to worry about them, putting something in their mouth. My son still likes to put poison in his mouth. So I'm not quite to the point that I can be like, here's a book, sit down and read while mommy and daddy play, or anything like that. So at this point, if my husband finds a group, he generally goes and plays a couple times a month, and mommy stays at home with the kids. His last group went to like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my kids just can't handle that. So my kids are generally in bed by like 8, and if they're not, then they're really grumpy the next day, which means I get to handle grumpy kids because my husband's at work. So yeah, we don't do that. So I don't get to play anymore. But this gives me my D&D fix, which is awesome. And so I watch them play Dungeons and Dragons. It's about 4 hours a week. And then if you get really into it, they've got something called Vox Machina, which is basically during the game, they don't generally talk out of character. So if you want to hear like what the voice actor thinks about what their character did, then you can watch Vox Machina. I don't generally watch Vox Machina. I just don't have enough time. I'm lucky if I can keep up with Critical Role. But if you want your Dungeons and Dragons fix, and or you want to see somebody else play so you can see different styles and maybe even help your own play style, or help yourself if you're the DM or want to be a DM, I think it's a great podcast to watch. They also have, and this is on Geek and Sundry. Geek and Sundry also has DM tips. So if you really are wanting to be a DM or are a DM, there is several seasons of DM tips. First by Matthew Mercer, who is the DM for Critical Role, and then by Satine Phoenix, I think is her name, and she's amazing. And lots of tips and how to start a campaign and all of that. So that I highly suggest that if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, go check it out. We're on 100 and something episodes now, so I don't think I would start at the beginning. When I first started getting into Critical Role, I couldn't get through the first episode because they had such technical difficulties. But now it's a beautiful show. So I mean, like, start at like episode 30 or something and move forward, or just start with the current arc. We are actually about to end Vox Machina and start a new campaign here in probably 6 months, maybe. So it'll be a perfect time to start watching again, or watching for the first time. So yeah, it's my fun, and yeah. And then I guess the other geeky thing I guess I need to suggest, obviously, is Zelda Breath of the Wild, because I can't get enough of that game. I still have not beat Ganon, but I definitely could, because I just whooped Lionel's butt, a Silver Lionel, which I have heard is the hardest enemy in the game. So I have upgraded my gear, I have played hours and hours and hours, and I have a lot of the expansion gear already, and so I should just go beat Ganon. But then that's the end of the game. So I kind of I know this is the end, and I'm not ready to be done yet. So yeah. But so Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild. We are a big Zelda family. As if you couldn't tell from my bedspread last show, I think it was on my bed. And I'm looking at my husband's Zelda chess set and the map of the Zelda world, Breath of the Wild, on the wall. And this is just in his apartment. Yeah, so we are big Zelda fans, always have been. And so I can't recommend that game enough. It's probably my favorite in the whole franchise so far. I mean, Twilight Princess used to be my favorite. I liked Majora's Mask a lot. But this game, I'm a big Skyrim fan, and this game feels very Skyrim with a Zelda flair. So I really, really like this game. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me, and I can't believe I have rambled on for nearly an hour now. Thank you for listening. If you have any suggestions, things you want to see or want me to talk about, put them in the description bar below, or comment on Instagram. I follow that a lot. If anything that you've seen today, if you want a better picture of it, because again, I'm really sorry, this lighting is terrible. This is army housing, so you get what you get. I don't even have a light in the oven over there. Cooking has been an adventure too. So yeah, that is that. But Instagram should have better pictures of almost everything that I showed you today. And if not, put a comment down there, and I will take a picture and put it on Instagram for you as soon as I have internet again. Thank you for joining me. Keep knitting. Bye.